let's just say there were a few reporters saying that the 49ers were going to take Mac Jones. Just a few. Your Adam Schefters of the world, your Ian Rappaports. I mean, literally, the day the trade happened, Chris Sims immediately tweeted out, they are taking Mac Jones. That's the guy that Kyle would want, right? So let me ask you this. Do you think Trey Lance was Kyle's pick, or do you think he wanted Mac Jones?
I think he wanted Trey Lance.
Okay.
And I think Mac Jones was firmly within the discussion.
Absolutely.
I think he was firmly within the possible outcomes. I think they scouted him heavily. I think they considered him heavily. I really think now I didn't believe this leading up into the draft. There was all these reports coming out about it's down to Trey Lance and Mac Jones. Justin Fields has been removed from the final he's been eliminated from the final possibilities. I didn't want to believe that, honestly, because I liked Justin Fields. I really thought he'd be the pick. And maybe I got caught up in some of the hype, and maybe I overrated certain things like his Clemson game. But ultimately, my opinion and our opinion on Twitter didn't fucking matter at all, because we weren't going to pick him and we weren't going to coach him, and our career is not on the line. So I didn't matter. And as soon as they picked Trey Lance, I didn't hold on to my Justin Fields take. I was like, well, I was clearly wrong. And who am I to think my opinion matters? Like, they like Trey Lance, and I'm all for it. So let's look at why Trey Lance is good and why hopefully he succeeds. My point is, it sounds like he went on Eisen, and the way it sounded to me, he dropped Trey Lance and Mac Jones, and it sounded like those were the final two guys on their draft board. But I don't think at any point Mac Jones leapfrogged Trey Lance on their board. I think it was always Lance. I think in the very beginning, it was like Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones. They were just all like in the same tier. And then as they scouted them, I think Trey Lance moved to the top. I think Justin Fields and Mac Jones were somewhere down here. And then I think ultimately Mac Jones moved up above Justin Fields. I think Kyle Shanahan probably really liked Mac Jones. I do. I think he really, really liked Trey Lance. So I think Trey Lance, I think it was pretty consensus. They all agreed Trey Lance is the guy. The way 49ers Twitter talks about Mac Jones is he sucks and, he would be a disaster. I think Kyle Shanahan could have actually won a lot of games with Mac Jones. I think Belichick will win a lot of games with Mac Jones.
I think had the 49ers stayed at 12, Mac Jones would be a 49er right now. I mean,
Niner fans would have liked him at 12.
Absolutely. And that's the thing with all of this. I think when you take everything into consideration, my personal belief is I think if Kyle had a preference, and I think he did, and he had a preference for Mac Jones over Trey Lance, it was so minimal that his opinion for Trey Lance and Mac Jones is neck and neck, right?
Okay.
But ultimately, I think the scouting department, I think they wanted Trey more than anyone else, and that's what pushed this over the edge. To me, I think that's how things went down, because I just can't get that Monday press conference out of my head, man. I mean, that is one of the wildest press conferences I've ever seen. The Kyle Shanahan, I don't know who will survive by the end of the week.
Oh, okay.
Right? We're talking about the one where he looks as mad as he's ever looked. He looked in a mood that morning, man. And the funny thing was, he was a late add to that press conference. They pushed it back an hour. There's all this stuff about it. And then you see Kyle's demeanor throughout the entire press conference, and he looks like someone who you just told you ran over their puppy outside. Like, seriously.
Interesting.
So to me, that's what I take from this.
That's how you interpret that.
Exactly. I think for him, Mac Jones is 1A and Trey was 1B, but ultimately you trade up all those assets. You do all this stuff to go and get your guy. You can't not take the guy who's the mobile quarterback and the guy who offers as much upside as Trey Lance offers.
I think Trey Lance throws it better, dude. I think he throws it better. I think he's ever bit the cerebral mind. I just think Trey Lance is the better, not even the running stuff. I just think he's a better prospect, dude.
I think the only thing that Mac is truly better at is executing, right? And I think that's where it comes down to, right, with Kyle. That's why I lean on this so much, is because I think Kyle is obsessed with that execution.